Most producers waste hours perfecting individual sections, but their tracks still feel unfinished because they're missing the critical factor that needs to be working across the entire arrangement. So in this video, I'm going to show you the system I use to connect sections and create continuous energy flow. It's the same approach that helped me finish 31 tracks last year while working full time, and it works for any style of electronic music. The first idea is something I call the balloon effect. Here is a balloon. As I blow air into it, tension slowly builds. Expectation rises. If I let the air out, the tension drops. If I keep blowing, tension builds again. That inflate-release cycle is exactly what should be happening in your track. Because when energy is moving, the listener stays engaged. But when your track's energy level stays still, your sounds just sit there, static, like this flaccid balloon. Boring. Pathetic. You had one job. So keep that balloon in mind as I play you a bit of this beat. I've made this very subtle on purpose, but see if you can hear and feel the difference between the first 4 bars and the second 4 bars. Listen for movement, not huge changes. Now, did you feel the difference? The first 4 bars feel more static and repetitive. For the second 4 bars, there's this movement, which we'll look at shortly. They're small moves, but together they keep the energy alive, because remember, we want the balloon gently inflating and deflating all the time. And in electronic music, we can make energy and tension rise and fall in so many ways, with automation, modulation, parts coming in and out, velocity, dynamics, timbre changes, filters, reverbs, delay. One of the most powerful ways to shape energy is with volume. I've made a free volume tool for Ableton Live that's so much better for this than the stock utility. I'll leave a free download link below, plus a link to a video showing how it will upgrade your workflow. Anyway, whatever the movement is, the mistake most producers make is either doing all this stuff at once or not at all. The real source is in getting the balance right, not with one big automation move, but from multiple small movements working together. So here's a starting point to help you get things moving and breathing. Pick 3 lanes of movement. For example, 1 sound from your drums, 1 musical or tonal element, and 1 spatial or effects element. Now use automation or modulation to make these 3 sounds gently move and change. In this example, I've got the decay of the hats breathing slightly. And I'm changing the note length of the zappy lead here by about 5 or 10%. And the feedback on the vocal echo is swelling up and down. And here it is all together. To help it feel organic, you don't have to make every change in the same direction at the same time. Let them take turns. Let one rise while another relaxes. Think continuous ebbing and flowing and interweaving. And once you've got this steady subconscious energy rising and falling, it's easy to then ramp things up when you really want to build intensity. And these tiny movements create the overall feeling of the track. This is important. Micro movement creates macro flow, and that's what turns your collection of loops and sounds into a living, breathing track that feels whole. Now the next question is, where do you add this movement? And by how much? Well, think of your track like this. Here we've got energy on the vertical axis and time on the horizontal. Most people think energy looks like steps: intro, build, drop, breakdown, drop, etc. That's not wrong, but it's incomplete. A track that feels finished looks more like this: a continuous curve with an overall macro flow, but also with these micro flows throughout. It's always moving, even between the smaller moments. Those subtle rises and falls are doing just as much work as the obvious builds and drops. So when your track feels nearly there but something feels off, try this. Plot energy up the side, time along the bottom. Now map your track's energy level over time. Draw how the track's energy feels. This doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a rough guess based on feeling. And if your line is too flat, at least you've discovered why your track puts people to sleep. So anywhere the line goes too flat, now you know where to add motion and movement in your arrangement. And to help you manipulate flow, here is a bonus tip. This is something I was banging on about in computer music at least a decade ago, and it will bring your music to life instantly. So a big reason hardware synths feel alive isn't just the sound, it's the hands-on aspect. And when you use software and draw in automation lines with the mouse, you become more of a Photoshop nerd drawing in perfect lines than an actual musician. So the next time you want your important sounds to feel like their energy flow is responding to the music, record the automation live with a mouse or a knob. It gives you that imperfect physical motion you can't get with mouse drawing because you're reacting to the music and what's happening in real time. That's what I did in this track to make the mid-range bass move and open up and make it feel constantly alive. So keep your energy moving, shape it over time, and your track will finally feel complete, especially when you pay off all of that tension building. But how do you judge when the track is complete? You need a simple system to finish more tracks with fewer revisions, and you can get that by watching this video here. And for free track finishing tips that don't make it into these videos, sign up to my weekly newsletter, link below.